What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and in today's WWE news video, there's actually quite a bit to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about a potential main roster call-up for former North American Champion Damian Priest, as well as a few other things, including also, because I'm literally like scrolling down here, also too, a film for a Hall of Famer is currently being made, as far as we know. Carlito, unfortunately, did not make it to Raw Legends Night, and also the details, and also the details on NXT's deal with the USA Network. So let's actually talk about that film, because the film is for none other than the Hall of Famer, the late great Roddy Piper. And big shout outs to Benjamin Richardson from What Culture for this article. All 4 articles off of What Culture, big shout outs to them. So again, big shout outs to Benjamin Richardson. A film based on the life of WWE Hall of Famer Roddy Piper is currently in the works. That's according to Kyle Newacek. I completely just butchered that, so I do apologize. The creator, director, and star of sitcom Workaholics, speaking on a This Is Important podcast. Excuse me. Podcast back in November. Newacek let slip that $7 Productions, The Rock's production company, is handling a project about Hot Rod's career, and that he'd been signed to direct the film. Saying, quote, and the transcription reads, The Rock's company is doing Roddy, which I'm actually attached to now. They came to me with the idea of doing a Roddy Piper project. It's with The Rock's company and Jimmy Kimmel's company. I'm attached to direct it. They're not looking for another director at this time, because if and when it gets made, I am the guy. No further details about schedule or casting have been announced at present, though one thing's for sure, any film about Piper's time in the business, assuming it's accurate, will be a pretty wild ride. Piper, who passed away in 2015 at the age of 61, began wrestling when he was 15 years old. He went on to become a major star in every territory, to such an extent that he carved out a Hollywood career of his own. Most memorably, he took the lead role in John Carpenter's 1988 cult classic, They Live. Okay, so I have heard I heard about that movie. I just don't really, I'm pretty sure that I haven't seen it, because I don't know if it was like on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. If you guys know anything about that movie, let me know in the comments below, and let me know what that's about, because I have no idea. But yeah, so obviously Roddy Piper passed away in 2015. It was very tragic, and the only person, as far as I know, the only person that has a piece of his legacy is actually Ronda Rousey, who actually wore his jacket to the ring for all of her matches from her tenure in WWE. I'm talking from her impactful debut at the Royal Rumble, where she just magically appeared, to her WrestleMania debut match with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, to her Raw Women's title match against Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, all the way up until WrestleMania a couple years ago in 2019 at MetLife Stadium, where she lost the Raw Women's title to Becky Lynch, who also won the SmackDown Women's title from Charlotte Flair. Honestly, this is incredible. This has happened to a lot of superstars in the past. I think Eddie Guerrero as well was one of them. I know that they did one for Andre the Giant. I don't know if they did one for Owen Hart. I'm not so sure. I think they did one for China. So many, and this is truly as it said, it's gonna be a wild ride. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to cast how they're gonna cast the characters in the movie. I'm very curious about that, given the fact that Roddy Piper was always the type of guy that liked to do things on his terms. I remember especially watching it on DVD. One of my favorite matches from him, one of my all-time favorite matches from him was his match with Bret Hart. I think at WrestleMania 8. If I remember correctly, it was WrestleMania 8 at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. That was back in 92? Yeah, all the way back in 1992. And I know that match because I have the entire WrestleMania anthology on DVD, and I'm talking this was released in 2009? I want to say 2008, 2009, right around there. And it had WrestleMania's 1 through 20. Obviously, my mom failed to get 21 because had she gotten the complete box, the underneath the lid would have had WrestleMania 21. But it is what it is. But yes, I do remember that match very clearly. That match was absolutely incredible. That was a 5-star match in my opinion. But having a film based off of the life and career of a legend like the Hot Rod is absolutely amazing. That's incredible. That is incredible. All right, you guys. Now for the details on when NXT's deal with USA will expire. So shout-outs to Andy Murray for this article. Big shout-out. WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston, I think I butchered that name, considered the foremost independent expert on the business of professional wrestling, has tweeted key information on NXT's TV contract with USA Network. Responding to Twitter user @assemble_show, Thurston noted his belief that the deal may end this fall, and that a renewal is likely, casting doubt on the possibility of USA asking WWE to switch nights in the process. He posts, quote, "I believe NXT's deal expires this fall. Seems likely USA will renew. Maybe they move night. Maybe they move to another night, but I doubt it. Outwardly, WWE is defiant that Wednesday has always been NXT's night. I don't FWIW. I don't know. WWE, and in parentheses it says, and WWE Raw license NBCU by extension, probably view taking a 20% bite out of AEW as good value. Guggenheim Securities equity research analyst Curry Baker stated in August of 2019 that the NXT USA deal was likely worth around $30 million per annum for 1 or 2 years. These details came from communications with people within WWE. NXT moved from broadcasting on the WWE Network to USA on September 18th, 2019, with AEW debuting 2 weeks later. Though AEW's Warner Media deal was announced 3 months before NXT's with USA, the WWE property has largely failed at competing with the AEW shows. AEW's show in key demographics, having not outdone Dynamite, I think is their show name, I guess, in viewers aged 14 to 49 since December 18th. September 2020 brought much debate on whether NXT should move from its regular Wednesday time slot when it and Dynamite post significant ratings increases after being preempted from their usual head-to-head spot. That WWE wishes to NXT to remain on Wednesday and not to beat AEW, but to diminish their numbers is a commonly held belief. Okay, so here's what I find funny. So obviously when it comes to NXT, as far as I know anyway, NXT has always been on Wednesdays over the last several years. There we go. I had to push up my camera a little bit from on my stand. Anyway, Wednesdays has become a staple for NXT, whether it was on from not just being on the WWE Network, but also on as well, but also being transitioned to USA. And funny enough, when NXT UK debuted, when the show NXT UK debuted in 2018, it would air every Wednesday. The first couple months, if you guys didn't notice, the first couple months had aired 2 episodes of NXT every Wednesday, with NXT airing at I think it was like 5 or something like that. So and it will only last like an hour. Now NXT is 2 hours long. NXT UK is an hour long because it's still a growing brand. NXT is already one of the hottest brands in WWE today. And if USA does renew with NXT, odds are my honest opinion, I think they'll keep it on Wednesdays, but they may end up switching up like the time frame, I guess. So it is a possibility, but you never know. You never know, which actually brings me to question of the day. Should NXT, let me rephrase it. If USA does renew with NXT, what time frame should NXT air on Wednesdays? Let me know in the comments below. I want your thoughts on that. And also another question. What do you think we can expect from NXT in 2021? That's the second part to the question. So answer in the comments below. Honestly, this doesn't really surprise me. NXT renewing with USA is pretty imminent at this point. I ain't saying nothing more about it. Alright, you guys, now for the reason why Carlito did not show up to Raw Legends Night. Shoutouts to Andy Murray for this article. As reported by Fightful Select, prior to the event, Carlito failed to appear at Raw Legends Night this past Monday, despite being advertised for the show in advance. Wrestling Inc.'s Nick Hausman states that the reason for Carlito's absence is that the promotion jumped the gun on announcing his appearance. Per the report, WWE had sent feelers to several wrestlers about appearing at Raw Legends Night, then seemingly confirmed their appearances before actually making it official, with the talents themselves leading to the mix-up. The good news? There isn't thought to be any beef between the parties, as it seems like a simple miscommunication. Candice Michelle was in a similar boat as Carlito. WWE had announced her appearance, though she didn't end up on the broadcast. There's no word on whether or not this was for the same reason as the former Intercontinental Champion. This loaded episode of Raw drew mixed reviews, with fans and critics praising the electric Keith Lee vs. Drew McIntyre match for the WWE Championship, but criticizing Goldberg's appearance and the company's general use of the legends. Viewership information is currently unavailable due to a holiday-related delay in their reporting. So I'm actually gonna be doing, so if you guys want me to talk about something like this on my series WWE's Biggest Issue this coming Monday, let me know also in the comments below, because I'm gonna talk about that in depth. But the only thing that I'm going to say, as I guess a bit of a spoiler, so to speak, is why Goldberg is challenging Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble, when he could have challenged Roman Reigns for his Universal title at the Royal Rumble instead, given the fact that they never got to have their match. That's all I have to say. But as far as Carlito, I find it funny because some of the matches that I've seen involving Carlito were with were matches against guys like Ric Flair, guys like John Morrison. I remember he went up against Kane at one a couple of times in his career, and he had also competed against guys like John Cena, Booker T, Edge as well. And so many more. And I think some of his last like big batch of matches that he had in WWE was from 2009 to I think 2011, if I remember correctly. Because I think let me take a look at that. Because I think hang on. I wanna see when he left WWE, because I think he left in 2011. If I remember correctly, yeah, okay, yeah, so it was 2010, and I think the last match he had The last match he had the last match that he had in WWE was actually on April 19th, 2010. That was the last match he had, and he had went up against John Morrison, and John Morrison ended up being the winner. In fact, actually the last the last three matches he had, the first of his last three was against MVP, and then of course MVP won, and the second to last was against Evan Bourne, and of course his final one was against John Morrison. Yeah, so honestly, it's honestly though it was kind of upsetting that we didn't get to see Carlito or Candice Michelle, but you know what? I do hope that they do decide to come back to WWE for one night, because that would be incredible. Because I know that Carlito was a fan favorite, despite having worked despite having worked the heel character for such a long time. He was a fan. He was a fan favorite. In fact, for me, you could say I was one of his fans. But yes, again, that's insane. That is pretty insane. But it is what it is. Shockingly enough, though, shockingly enough, even with all that, Raw Legends Night had brought in so many views, which was pretty insane. But with that being said, Damian Priest, his match last night at NXT New Year's Evil was against Karrion Kross, and he lost. Which begs the question, are we going to see him in the main roster? So shoutouts to Andy Murray once again for this article. NXT's Damian Priest will soon be on his way to the main roster. Per Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE will bring the former North American champion up imminently, despite canceling plans to have him debut on last Friday's episode of SmackDown. Excuse me. This goes hand in hand with a couple of reports that emerged yesterday. First, WrestleVotes claimed that an unnamed NXT wrestler was originally supposed to be heading to SmackDown last week, where they participate in the main event segment with Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, and Kevin Owens. Fightful Select then reported that a Priest call-up had been discussed earlier this week, but not necessarily for that role. Meltzer ties the two together, confirming Priest was the Friday man. Priest was to debut as Owens' best friend. The duo were then supposed to face Uso and Reigns on the show, but KO objected, saying that the idea didn't make sense, as he and Priest had nothing in common to tie them together. Damian was in the building ready to go when the angle was cancelled, as Reigns agreed with Owens. Meltzer now believes that Priest is expected to debut on Raw, not SmackDown, by the end of the month. Okay, so this is what boggles my mind, okay? Because when you think about it, when it comes to main roster debuts from NXT, you end up going to one show, you stay there for a year or two, and if it doesn't go well within that time, you end up going to another show. If it doesn't work out, you go back to NXT. That's what happened with Ember Moon as she debuted on Raw the night after WrestleMania when Nia Jax became Raw Women's Champion by defeating Alexa Bliss. She was a part of Raw for a little while, then went over to SmackDown, then got injured, and then ended up going back to NXT. The one thing that I find interesting is that if Damian Priest were to go to SmackDown, he would be competing in the ring against guys like Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns, Otis, Seth Rollins, Dominic Mysterio, Murphy, Otis, Chad Gable, Jay Uso, just to name a few. But if he were to go to Raw, he can reignite his rivalry with Keith Lee, which honestly is not too bad. It's not that bad, but you know what? Honestly, for me as a fan of Damian Priest and everything that he does in NXT, I will be perfectly okay with whatever brand he goes on, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. But the only thing that I'm hoping for is that WWE do right with his career. Like his career did right in NXT. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Be sure to answer the question of the day in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want to see more news videos for WWE and YuGiOh, definitely make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description. And if you guys have any fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will be in the description. Yes, 2021, I will be doing fan mail. So if you guys have fan mail, the address is down below. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.